Before this video starts,
I come to make an announcement.
Mini Vegas MC now has its own little set of channels on my Discord server, the Red Felt Jungle. The first channel is pretty simple. You get to see updates on the map before the YouTube videos are released, such as new builds and changes, but the second channel is special. You can now suggest stuff you want to see built in Mini Vegas MC. All you have to do is just ask for what you want built, click a tag that is related to what that thing is, provide a picture of said thing, and then post it. It can be almost anything. Casinos, hotels, condos, parks, some other stuff, and yeah. If I do end up adding the thing you suggested in the future, you will receive a shout out in the video showing it. I've been changing the server a lot lately, so if you want to join, then feel free to. Link to the server is down in the description below. Warning, this is also a half furry type server because I am furry trash, so make that of what you will. If you don't like furry stuff, then I don't know. Anyways, back to the video. Hi everybody, it's Cairo and welcome back to another video on Mini Vegas MC. So in the last Mini Vegas MC video, we went very south of the strip and added the Valley High Golf Club, along with some aviation related things like Maverick helicopters and signature aviation. But now we're gonna go back up the strip and we're gonna check out 4 brand new properties that have been added to the map. 2 of them are pretty major, some pretty major hotels going on over here, and then 2 of them are not only pretty small, but are also some of the first off-strip properties to be added to Mini Vegas MC, unless you count all that stuff down there. We're gonna go over 4 new properties that have been added. Not that much to offer, again, like in the last video, but I'd say these additions are still pretty massive, especially these 2 right here. So we're gonna get started with the 2 small off-strip stuff, and the first one we're gonna check out is none other than this little apartment complex called Oasis Apartments. Now this apartment complex always kind of interested me for a little while because first off, it's super close to the strip, and second off, it's super close to Harry Reid. So like, what is it like living down here? I must imagine these are probably for people who like work on the strip or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's a very interesting property. I don't really know the history behind this place. I will say the designs on most of these apartment buildings are pretty interesting to me because they have this like weird tilted square building thing with like little parts of it jutting out, and that's pretty interesting to me because not a lot of apartment complexes in Nevada or in Las Vegas at least don't kind of have that design. Also, I don't know why these 3 buildings are completely separate from the rest of this property. It's kind of weird, but yeah, you've got your little pool area right here, pretty nice, very tiny and small and cute. And then you've got your little pathways that goes around the property. And then you've got your separate thing. It's very close to, what was this again? The Nirvana Motel? No, the Desert Oasis. It's very close to Desert Oasis. That's pretty much it for this property. Not a lot going on. And so the second off-strip property we're going to be talking about is one that's actually even smaller. So this is actually a Catholic church called Roman Catholic Shrine of the Most Holy Redeemer. It's right next to where the Tropicana used to be. Another very interesting place in terms of how close it is to the Las Vegas Strip. I think this place opened back in the early 90s, if I remember correctly. And yeah, it's a pretty basic Catholic church. Not much going on. But I will say the design is pretty cool, in my opinion. Very cool. One thing to note is that so sometimes whenever I'm making these properties, you know, like compressing them to make them more smaller, you know, like making the scale more small and stuff, you encounter some distortions. So like this little cul-de-sac connects to the parking lot for this church, but this little road that connects from the church's parking lot to this cul-de-sac aren't supposed to be that long. I did it like this because this cul-de-sac is supposed to be passing right by the White Sands Motel, if that makes any sense. But yeah, you get some little distortion effects going on. I don't know if I'll be able to fix this or not. I'd probably have to restructure this entire parking lot area or place the White Sands Motel somewhere else. But yeah, this is the Catholic Church of the Most Holy Redeemer. Cool church place thingy. And the first out of a few that'll probably be built. I can recognize a few churches in the Las Vegas Valley that I might put in here in the near future. And yeah, so with those two little off-strip properties out of the way, we're now going to get onto the two, or technically third, because ooh, look at this is finally done, Las Vegas Strip buildings that we're going to be covering. So the first one we're going to be doing is the Excalibur, the big giant, I just realized I never filled this in. Let me just, there we go. Yeah, this is the Excalibur, the big castle hotel and casino place, which is also one of my favorite hotels and casinos on the Las Vegas Strip. I don't care what anyone else says about this place, I like it. This was one of the more complicated things to build in terms of its design, mostly because of the placement of these big turret spire things. It was kind of hard trying to put them all together, making them small, I guess. But yeah, I do kind of like how it turned out. We got these little black stone buttons for the windows that you can press and stuff. It's very fun. Anyways, yeah, buttons for windows. We've got two buildings. I think one of them is called the Royal Tower and another one is called the Resort Tower or Casino Tower. And it's very cool looking. You've got the, I think this is the Uber area, like the pickup ride sharing place. I think there are tour buses that also go around over here, you know, like Big Bus and stuff like that. Very cool. Well, actually, I think the Uber like rideshare pickup place is over here. I might be wrong. I haven't been on the outside areas of the Excalibur in a long time. Here is the pool area. There are lots of pools here at the big old castle. One of these has a water slide, which is pretty cool. We've got this one right here. Got this one with, I believe, are supposed to be two jacuzzis. Very nice. Just like the Luxor, the little wool blocks are supposed to be the cabanas. We've got lots of shrubbery, got lots of scenery, lots of rocky stuff, like a hill, and the aforementioned water slide. This is it. This is the water slide, which goes down into this pool. Very cool. Oh, that kind of rhymed. And you've got the entrance area. You know, you go down here, then you enter through this hallway thingy, and then you go over a lake. Now, little note, this lake thing no longer exists. It's been replaced with like pebble rock art thingy. It's like a swirly thing made out of rocks. I don't like it all that much. I think the little lake area was much better, like the moat, I think it's called, which is why I placed it in here instead of the pebble art thingy, whatever it's called. And yeah, you enter through here, you go above the lake, you go into the valet area, and then you enter the casino. And if you want to go through the Luxor through the Excalibur, then you can go through this sky bridge area. See, there's like a little sky bridge. It's like whoop, whoop, and it goes into the Luxor. The theme changes, whoop, and then congratulations, you're inside the big pyramid. Another thing, you've got the parking garage. There's actually two parking garages here. This one, I believe, was the original one, because this all used to be just a regular parking lot. But then this two-story, I think, parking garage was later added. And then I believe sometime in the early 2010s, this parking garage was added. This big old parking garage, which features some weird looking like art sculpture thingy. I don't know what it's called, but it's kind of cool looking. I like it a little bit, kind of. Just like with the Luxor, with this pyramid shaped tower that connects to the parking garage, this isn't actually supposed to be that big, these roads. And this was made even more wide. I don't know how I'm going to be able to fix that in the near future, but for now, I guess it's just going to be like this, and There's a parking lot right here. I think this is for like trucks and bus thingies. And I believe this is supposed to be, I might be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong on this, because I don't know a lot about this back area, but I think this is supposed to be for training horses for the Tournament of Kings, because if you guys don't know, the Excalibur has Tournament of Kings, which is this like dinner show where you get to eat dinner while knights joust and fight and stuff. It's very cool. There's like 2 teams, I guess. There's like a king and stuff. Very nice. And if you notice on the roof of this area, there's little buttons. These are supposed to be like ventilation stuff, I guess. I don't know what these actually are. I'm not fluent in stuff that's on top of the roofs of buildings. All I know is ventilation and cameras, and that's it. They also appear right here in the form of smooth stone slabs. And yeah. And then one other thing to note, this is kind of like an update. The South Strip tram that goes from Mandalay Bay to the Luxor to the Excalibur is now finished! Woohoo! Yippee! So the last stop of this monorail is the Excalibur tram station, which was designed to fit in with the Excalibur's theme, which is something I find super cool. And it's the largest out of the 3 tram stations. Now, since this has been completed, that means this tram now has its own lectern. Is that what it's called? Lectern. It has its own lectern now. It gives you some information. Pause if you want to read it. Wow, that was very cool. That was a very cool description of the tram. Oh yeah, the tram also stops here. There's like 2 pathways that the tram takes. Very cool, I guess. Here's the 2 signs, 2 Excalibur marquees that shows off like the stuff that they have inside of the hotel. Lots of parking lots down here. Lots of stuff going on. And I believe that is it for the Excalibur. Very cool. Honestly, one of my favorite designs so far in Mini Vegas MC. I do really like how this turned out. Very cool. And then connecting from the Excalibur, we have our first pedestrian bridge, which is the one that goes from the Excalibur and the Excalibur's tram station to the Tropicana. Now, I do know that there are people who are going to be like, actually, Tropicana doesn't exist anymore. It was imploded to make way for a baseball stadium for the A's. Now, keep in mind, I do know about that. I'm a Vegas local. I know about this. I went to the Las Vegas Strip right after the Tropicana was imploded, and I saw all the rubble that was left, and I do know that they're just beginning to build the A stadium. But you know what? Do you know how empty the south area of the Strip kind of looks without the Tropicana? Like, this part just looks so empty, even as they're building the A stadium. So I thought to myself, you know what would be cool? A tribute to the Tropicana. So for now, this is the Tropicana. It's gonna stay here at least until the A stadium gets built, or until I find out how to use redstone and make it so that you can toggle different buildings on or off, if that makes any sense. But yeah, the Tropicana is gonna be staying here in my map, preserved for people to see. So this is the Tropicana. So man, I don't know how to start with this. There's a lot going on. This was one of the oldest and I think longest lasting properties on the Strip, if you don't count Sahara or Flamingo or some of the other places on the Strip. But yeah, this was a very old property that opened back in the 1950s. It had a tropical theme, which is why it was called the Tropicana. And no, it was not named after the orange juice, silly Billy. So I guess we'll get started with the 2 hotel towers. If I can remember them off of my head, I believe this one is the Club Tower, formerly the Tiffany Tower, which was added in 1979. And then we got the Paradise Tower, which was built in the early to mid 1980s. And in between that, there was a sky bridge that connected 2 of the hotel towers. Pretty cool. And then below the sky bridge, you have this big old pool complex, which back in the day was called the Island of Las Vegas. But yeah, this was a set of pools that they had back in the day. Was added in the 80s. A pretty nice looking pool area. These little wings, these are like some of the oldest parts of the property. These are the very old hotel wings that came with the Tropicana back in the 1950s. There were a few expansions in the 1960s and onward. And of course, you got these cabanas. I don't think these are cabanas. These are just like little tent areas, I believe. And this area, I believe, was supposed to be a wedding chapel. There used to be a wedding chapel where you could get married at the Tropicana. Very cute and stuff. And this building was where the casino area was. This little area, I think, was where the rewards desk used to be, or like the original showroom back in the 1950s and stuff. And you can definitely tell this was where it was because that area had a much higher ceiling. The only reason why I'm mentioning this is because there's kind of like a little :3 face, if you can see it. Little :3 face. What else is there? So there's this little facade area that goes underneath the hotel tower, which is pretty cool. And in between all that, there's these little facades which are themed after Caribbean villages, added in the early 1990s. And then over here was a like celebrity restaurant called Robert Irvine's. There's supposed to be another pedestrian bridge that goes from here to the MGM Grand, but that's not built yet, so I don't see a reason on building that until I build the MGM Grand. You got your two signs, this one right here, and then this one right here. Little parking garage, tent area thingy, big old parking lot. Oyo is right next to this, which I'll probably build in the near future, maybe the next episode or the episode after that. I don't know. I'll build it right after the MGM Grand. But here is Tropicana Avenue, the road that was named after the Tropicana. You've got this little lawn area, garden place thingy, which has its own little lectern. And the reason why the text on this lectern is red is because this isn't the only place that doesn't exist anymore that I plan on building. I also plan on doing the Mirage, which is currently being converted into the new Hard Rock Hotel. I want to do that soon, and I think it's going to be pretty cool with like the volcano and stuff. I don't know how long this map will take to build. If I take long enough, maybe the Hard Rock will eventually open and I'll have to build it instead of the Mirage. But yeah, that was the Tropicana, and I believe that should be about it for this video on MVMC. Thank you if you guys enjoyed it. Sorry that I didn't make a lot of buildings in this episode. Again, I only did like 4 properties. 2 of them were pretty small and off the Las Vegas Strip. Next video, I'll probably build New York and MGM Grand, and maybe Oyo. I don't know. I'm debating on that. Subscribe to become an epic burro churro today. Leave a like on this video, comment, other stuff, blah blah blah. This is Cairo Burro signing off.